here for Board Game Geek at Origins 2019. I'm sitting down with Pete Shirey from CMON, and you've brought us Gods of War, the card game.
Yes. So in Gods of War, 1 to 4 players are going to be playing cooperatively to try to prevent Ragnarok from happening. So the way they'll do this is at the beginning of the game, you're going to set up a quest area where you'll set up an inverted pyramid. There's 6 quest cards in the game. You'll shuffle them up and draw 3. And then the first card that's placed here will have a number which sets the scene. And then if you happen to advance from this scene to the next, then you'll be able to choose one of the next 2 cards, and which one you do not choose gets flipped over and causes a penalty. And then if you're still able to pass that quest, then you go to a final boss mode where you'll flip over 2 of the ones that you do not choose, which will give you another penalty, and try to fight a boss to win the game.
Now, if we had sort of branched in our destiny, let's say, over to the Ogre versus the Grendels, am I limited to then these 2 as my potential bosses, or just one from that top row?
One from that row.
I still like the idea, though, that you can meander what your journey and thus the outcome of the game is.
Absolutely, and with the fact that there's additional cards and additional bosses that you're randomizing, it'll give you a little bit of a different feel for each adventure.
Yeah.
So you're probably wondering now how you want to play this game. So you'll pick a character. That character will get one of its rage tokens set at 0. As you play throughout the game, you will build rage, and when you get your rage maxed out, you'll be able to fire off a special ability on the card. Each character has its own deck of cards that'll give you the various actions you can take throughout the game. So the first phase of the game is the preparation phase. You're simply just going to draw 7 cards. That's your starting hand limit. Of those cards, you're going to get cards that are attack cards. So you'll see here, this axe signifies a melee attack. A melee attack can attack anything in your column that's the first card. A ranged attack will allow you to attack the back card in the same column that you're in. There are also black cards here. These cards are modifier cards. Those are used to boost the strength of those attacks. And then there's a blue defensive card with a shield on it. You're not going to use that so much on your turn, but after your turn, the game's going to fight back, and you're going to definitely want to have a couple of those in your hand. So on your turn, you can do 4 different things. You can move. To move, you simply take your standee, and you'll move it to any unoccupied column. If you go to a column that has another character in it, you could then choose to be in the front position or the back position. If you're in the front position, attacking is still the same, but when the game tacks back, you'll be the one to take damage.
Makes sense.
If you're in the back position, you're protected. You can still do various actions and attack.
But you can't melee, I'm guessing.
No, you can, but when the game attacks back, it's going to attack him instead of you. So you can move and attack. Now, the cards you can play as many cards as you want, because each turn you're going to discard your hand at the end of the turn. But you only get to move once, so you have to strategically decide if you want to attack first or attack second to move around. You can also interact with the board. Some of these scenario tiles have monsters that you fight. Others just simply have requirements you need in order to achieve the goal. So the goal for this scenario is we need to reveal 3 runes. The way we're going to do that is to defeat the monsters or complete the puzzles and then flip the cards over, and then there'll be some surprises.
Can we flip this one over? Let's say we shot 2 arrows.
You discard 2 of these. So what it says here is you're gonna flip over these 2 cards.
Okay, so this one and this one.
And look, we've uncovered the first rune. Absolutely. So say for instance you wanted to attack this guy, you would play axe melee attack. You'd throw enough modifiers on it to get it above 4 or 5. The monsters do get a defensive die, so what'll happen is after you play your attack, they'll roll the die, and whatever
he got 0.
He got a 0, so guess what? You would have killed him. So right here, this says when this monster dies,
then flip.
you flip, and you get to advance your rage an additional spot. Yeah, and then you've unlocked this one. Now, once we've uncovered the 3 runes, and I won't show that because I don't want to spoil too much for the people that are going to play it, then you would flip this card over, and then what this card says is each player gets +2 to their hand limit. There's some plus and minus hand limit tokens you'd add to your card, so now at the end of each turn you'd be drawing more cards. So once you've done all of your actions for your turn, then we're going to go ahead and flip over a card from the upgrade deck.
And here, actually, I'm going to grab that.
So the upgrade deck are going to be cards at the end of the round that we're going to get to draft to improve our characters. But the icon in the corner right, the rune on the top right of the card, is going to tell the game what to do back to us. So this icon here, you look for matching ones. This guy's got it. So what that means is he's going to do a range attack at strength 2 to the farthest character away from his column, which would be me. This is when you want to save those defensive cards in your hand to be able to block that damage. If I'm able to prevent the damage, then nothing happens. If not, you just start accumulating damage on your card.
Do those upgrades happen before the game starts whacking damage at you?
No, the upgrades happen after the game whacks damage at you. So no, you can't preempt the damage. So these cards will stay in a row up at the top of the board. So after my turn is over, we would flip that card. Then it would be your turn. You would do your actions, attacks, and whatever. And then you would flip a card. The game would hit us back. And then once we've both gone, or 4 players in a 4-player game, the game gets an additional activation just because it likes to really hit us. Then after that, cooperatively as a group, we would decide who gets what card. They go on top of your deck, not bottom, so you're guaranteed to get it on the very next turn. What cards do not get selected go to the bottom of the upgrade deck, and then we pass the first player token and do it all over again. The object, again, is to complete the scenario in front of us, which at that point then we'd be able to advance through the rest of it.
I was going to say, and let's loop back to this for a quick moment, because now this will add a little bit more context and meaning. So to beat this card, I would have to just defeat this one.
Correct.
And this one.
Correct.
And then that would be considered completed, and I could advance up to that next
Absolutely.
row.
But the other cards just give you other things to do in your quest to accomplish the goal of the card. Yep, absolutely. And then when you get to the second round, of course, you'll have a different modifier. So an example of one of the hindrances is before the first round, each player shuffles one of the stun cards into their deck. The stun card, when you draw it, you just discard it immediately, but it takes up one of those precious card slots you have.
And then before we wrap this up, let's just give a little quick review of some of the characters we have here, because this is, if I'm not mistaken, an IP for
this is a video game that's made by Sony. This is a very popular franchise, and we're very happy to have the characters represented here. So the main character is Kratos.
Right.
He is also the only character you play in solo mode, so he has a backside. Okay. And what happens in solo mode is you play as Kratos, but Atreus, who's also in the most recent game, is his son. He also is played in solo mode, but just as a companion to assist.
Oh, interesting.
And Mimir, another character from the franchise, also is in solo mode, and what happens is he also has abilities you can use to assist your game. These are the only 3 characters used in solo mode.
Okay.
Then you have Freya, who's just another playable character in the regular cooperative version, and then Brock and Sindri, who are also available. And they're a tandem, so you play with both characters as one. Yes.
Each with their own rage.
Each with their own rage abilities, and each with their own standee, and their own decks that are...
I was going to say, there's quite a lot of stuff left in this box that you didn't put out.
So God of War is going to be $39.99. We're expecting it to be out, again, hopefully in the Gen Con time frame. We'll definitely have it for demo at Gen Con, and maybe some advanced copies for purchase.
Fantastic. Well, if you guys want to check that out, that is Gods of War, the card game, which is being published by CMON. And Pete, thank you for letting us take a look.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone.